Hey, what's going on, Dev? This is Robson Muniz. Welcome back to WebDev channel. In today's episode, we're gonna create a multi-step form with progress bar using just simple tools like HTML CSS in JavaScript and for scratch, step by step. Alright, this is what we're gonna build on today's video, a multi-step form, as you can see, with 4 steps going from name all the way to the password. When I click the next button, it goes from name to contact until the end. So let's code it. Stick to the end of it because by doing that, you will learn how to build it by your own and add that to your portfolio or use that in your website. Let's get started. For the beginning, we have those 3 main files, okay? App.js, index.html, and style.css. So let's move to the markup, okay? Let's have a title, a multi-step form with progress bar, a link connect our file to our external JavaScript file, and also our script, okay? Point to external JavaScript file, all right? Moving to the body, let's have our first inputs, okay? Let's create a div with the class of input group. It's gonna be more than 1. And here, let's have first the label, okay? Some people use H1, but I like use the label. And the label, it must fit the ID of the input, okay? So let's have our input, and the ID is gonna be username, okay? Let's have also here a name, username, and the first group is created, okay? Let's create another div, okay, input group, and here let's have our last name, okay? The label, our name for the last name, okay? Let's type here last name, and the input, of course, is gonna have the ID of our name, last name. For the name here, let's also say the same thing here, okay, our name. And as you can see, we see a lot of code, but we have no idea what you have so far, okay? So let me show you live what we have done. Looks like we don't have much. First name, last name, and the inputs. Okay, as you saw in the beginning of the video, we have a button. Okay, so let's create this one. Let's have a div, and let's give the class of btn and also btn next. Okay, it's gonna be the button next, and let's type next in here. And as you can see, we have our button. And one more thing I forgot to do in the beginning. Okay, let's have our form, and let's put everything in the form. Okay, the form, no action at all. There is no backend here, and the class is gonna be form. Let me just copy this one and paste it here. As you figure out, we need 4 of them. Okay, the first one is done. Now let's shift gears a little bit and let's make a couple of changes. As you can see, we have the first and last name in the button, but everything is very ugly. Okay, so let's go to the style.css, okay? And the first thing we're gonna do here is change the font. Let's go to the Google Fonts and grab this Montserrat font for free, all right? Import and just paste in here. And up here on line 1, I will also need the color, okay? Let's have available primary color. It's gonna be RGB 11. I made a mistake here, it's not dot but commas, okay? It's gonna be a bluish color. And continuing on CSS, let's have our CSS reset, okay? For our universal selector and pseudo class before and after. But before I show you how to make it, I'm gonna show you why we need it, okay? I'm gonna create a border, and as you can figure out, different browsers, they have different margin and padding, and we don't want to work with that, okay? We want that to be the same. So margin and padding 0, and as you can see, it changed already. Box sizing here is gonna be border box. All right, I hope you understood that. And now moving to the body, we no longer need that. And let's have our font family, font sound, and sans serif as a fallback. The display here, the layout is gonna be grid. Let's put that in the middle, horizontally and vertically. Okay. In order to do that, let's have a min height of 100 VH. As you can see, it's right in the middle. And we need also a background color. Okay, so let's have a linear gradient, and let's use those two colors. You can use them wherever you like the most. And yeah, it's looking much better. As you can see, it's very easy. Okay, we are going from top to the bottom. And in here, let's start dealing with the form. Let's start with this one, .form. Let's use the function clamp. Okay, let's give the minimum value 320, the one we want 30%, and the maximum of 430 pixels. All right. For the margin, 0 and auto. We also want to have here a border of 1 pixel solid and is grayish color, CCC. And for the border radius on the corners, make it around .35 range. Okay. And for the padding, 1.5 all the way around. Okay. Let's also pick a background color. It's gonna be this grayish color. And let's also apply some shadow. Okay. This is gonna be 2 pixels, 4 pixels, 11 pixels, -1, and the black color. And yeah, it's starting looking better. All right, and now let's deal with those very ugly, okay, with those very ugly inputs. Okay, general settings, and here let's target them. So input, let's start here with display. We want them to be black. Let's make them bigger, width of 100%. The padding .75 range all the way around. Let's make them have a border, 1 pixel solid and CCC. They are very square right now. Let's make the route at the borders with 0.25 range. As you can notice on your screen, the label and the input are very close together, okay, and we don't want that. So let's grab the label. Display, we want that to be black. And let's also have a margin bottom of 0.5 range. Okay, put them apart. One more thing we should do here is grab the input group. Okay, and let's give them a margin of 2 range and 0. It's still doing from top to the bottom, very simple. Okay, let's deal with the buttons. Okay, so let's give it a padding of 0.75 and the layout is going to be black. We want to get rid of this very ugly underline also. Okay, with text decoration is going to be none, so no ugly underlining here. For the background color, let's use our primary color. As you can see, we cannot read now, so let's make the letters to be white. Okay, white and blue is to read. Border radius of 25 range, make it round, and the cursor is gonna be pointer. As you may notice, we have a huge blue button, and we don't want that. We want half of that, and we want that on the right. Let's come here on the next button, and let's give 2 classes here with 50. This is just half, and margin left 50. Okay, so let's apply some styles. Okay, let's come here to the general settings with 50. Guess what? With 50%. And yeah, we have half of the button, but we don't want that on the left. We want that on the right. So margin left is gonna be auto, putting it right on the right. Okay. Looks like our button is done, but we need some animation. Okay. First of all, let's start with a hover effect, and after that, when the user clicks on it, let's have this box shadow here. Okay, first color white, and the second one here is gonna be our primary color, our bluish color. Okay, and let me show you what we have so far. Okay, it's very ugly, so you have to make it more natural. Let's apply some transition to all, and it's gonna be 250 milliseconds easy in out. Let me show you. Okay, much better. Now let's go to the second animation that this button is gonna have. Okay, one is not enough for us, we need more than that. So let's grab the BTN active, and we want that to scale down a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. So scale .98, and let me click here, and yeah, now we have this nice effect. Okay, it scales down just a little bit, just enough to the user knows that he is click on it. Okay, make it interactive. All right, we need the H1 here. As I told you, this is a step-by-step project. Okay, very easy. Let's have a H1 with the class of text center. Guess why? Because we want that right in the center. Once this is done, let's go back to our CSS and apply some rules. Okay, and let's grab this one, text center. The first one, guess what? Text align is gonna be center, right in the middle. And let's also change the color to this one, to this black color. All right. Okay, so far we have one form. Okay, and as you saw in the beginning, we need 4 of them. Okay, so let's duplicate this one and make a couple of changes. You don't have to. Okay, if you want, there is a link down below, and you can go to my Facebook page and download this one. But I guess the best thing to do is code along. Okay, it's gonna make you a better developer. Okay, but if you want, you'll be welcome to our page. Okay, and in here, let's change that to font. Let's move to the second one here. Instead of last name here, let's delete this one, and we want email. The label here is gonna be also email, and the type, guess what? Also email. Okay. And another change we should be doing here is with the buttons. Let's go to the div BTNs group. Why BTNs? Because it's more than one button now. Let's delete those info here. We don't need it. And we're gonna have 2 buttons, one next and another one previous. Okay, so this one, the first one, is gonna be the previous. All right, and the second one is gonna be the next. And as you can see, we have our buttons. Looks like we have our buttons, but not the way we want. Okay, they are stacked on the top of each other, and it's very ugly result. So let's change that with the layout. Display is gonna be grid template column repeat 2 1 FR. Okay, and let's also now give some space in between them with a gap. Let's say 1.5 rem, and yeah, much better, as you can see. Now moving to the third one. Okay, the third step, and all I have to do is duplicate this one and make a couple of changes. Okay, in our case, let's get rid of this font. Okay, let me select them here, and let's just delete this one, and we're gonna have the Adobe. Okay, date of birth. Okay, and for the data type here is gonna be date, and the label here, date of birth. Moving here to the second one, we still have email, like the previous one. Let's delete the email and let's have ID. And the type is gonna be number. For the label here, let's say national ID. And as you can see, we have the third one. Let's do it one more time. The same thing here, okay? But this one is the last one, okay? We're about to finish and go in the CSS. So let's delete this one. It's gonna be the password. The type is also password, of course, and the label, for the label, password, okay? And sometimes we type the password, but we forget and we put something else in the second input. So confirm password. So you have the password on the input 1 and the input 2 is gonna be just confirming your password. So for the label here, let's say confirm password. And as you notice, we don't need no more a next button. Instead of that, we need a submit button. So input button, the type here is going to be submit, and the value here, let's say submit, okay, is our last step here. And allow me to show you what you have so far. It is a mess, okay? We have one form on the top, another one, so it's not good to see. Let's solve that with form step, display none. We want to see just the one that is the active one, okay? We're gonna be working on that one. So form step, display none. Now we wanna grab the active one, so form step dot active, and for the display we wanna see block, okay? As you can see, this is the only one we can see on the left. Now we should be created that steps or progress bar that you saw in the beginning, okay? So not progress bar. And inside of this one, let's create our 4 progress steps, okay? We are using Emmet, so let's multiply that by 4. And we have our 4 progress steps, okay? They are there in the backup, but we cannot see them here, okay? We have to make a couple of changes here in the CSS in order to be able to see them. Let's start by grabbing the progress here, so you know what you're doing. Progress. Let's comment this out. And under this one, let's grab the progress bar. The position, we want that to be relative. Now we grab the progress steps, okay? So dot progress step. Let's give it a width of 35 pixels. Height, the same thing here. A background color, let's pick a grayish color, DC, okay? And border radius, we want that to be round, okay? And now here they are, but they're vertical. We want the horizontal. So what you're gonna do, let's change that with display flex for the layout, putting side by side, but they are too close together, so let's justify content space between, and let's position them a little better using margin, okay? Terrain 0 for rain and 0 again, and here they are. Alright, and now we want that line connecting our dots, okay? It's not the aha moment, but just the line connecting the dots, okay? So the content here is gonna be nothing. Position is gonna be absolute, okay? And from the top, 50%, alright? We also want transform, translate in y direction, minus 50%, put them right in the middle of those balls. The background color, again the same color, this grayish color. Let's give a height of 4 pixels and a width of 100%. And as you can see, we have this line connecting our dots. Okay. And now we want those numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. In order to do that, let's use the counter reset property. Okay. And we start with a step. Okay, this is gonna be the 1. All right. And now here, let's move to the progress step before the counter increment is gonna be, of course, our step, okay? And the content is gonna be of counter step. So we count from 1 to 4. It's like a variable, okay? Here they are. A dev's life is not that easy. So before you go to Stack Overflow, let's use display flex, justify content, and put that in the middle, okay? Let's give a z index of 2 and it's right on the top. And as you can see, now we have the steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. We have the numbers. We have the numbers right where we want in the middle. Now let's give the names, okay? Every step here is gonna have a name. So let's use this property here, data title, and let's give the name, okay? The first one is gonna be name. The second one is gonna be contact. Let me give more space so you can see. I know some people are watching this on mobile phone. The third one, ID, and the last one is gonna be password, okay? As you can see, we gave the name in the markup, but we are not able to see yet. We are gonna do that using CSS, okay? Part of the magic happens here, okay? We are gonna give the name to each one of those steps right now, okay? Let me just come to here to the form, okay? Up here, up the form, let's have the progress tab. Let's again use the pseudo class, this time after. Okay, we have before, now after. Let's use the content attribute, and we're gonna grab the attribute for each one of these data title. Okay, so data title, let me save, and as you can see, we have the. Now all I have to do is position. So from the top, let's make calc 100% plus .5 rem. Okay. Let's also decrease the size of the font. .85 rem. Maybe just .8. Okay. One more thing here, we should change the color. Let's give it a grayish color. We want to do 2 things now. We want to make the first one, the first step, active and blue, the same color of our button, okay? So let's come here to progress step and give one more class of active, okay? Of course, it's not blue because we have to set the rules here in the CSS, all right? Let's grab progress, step active, and let's start by change the background color. We want our primary color, okay, is blue, but the number 1 is black. That's ugly. Let's make it white. It's easier to read and it's much better. And one more thing we should be dealing here is with our progress, okay? This line, I know there is a problem here, so let me include it in here, progress, and yeah, looks nice. This line here also is going to be blue, the same color of the number 1 step and the button. So background color is going to be our primary color, as you can see, blue. But we want the width to be 0. This is going to be increased using JavaScript, the power of JavaScript. I know we're going to do that using JavaScript. So before that, I'm going to use some transition. finally, we are in the realm of the JavaScript where the magic really happens, okay? So let's start by get reference to the elements, okay? Let's use the DOM here. So const prev btns because we have more than one. So document query select all, we want all of them. And let's have it here, btn prev. We also want to bring in, have a reference to the next buttons. And the same thing here, document query select all and btn next, okay? And why are we doing that? Because once you have the reference, then we can do whatever you want. You can delete, you can modify, and yeah, here you're almost like a god, okay? And const form steps, document query selector all, and let's grab the forms step, okay? So they are all here, and the next step here we wanna grab the next buttons, okay? And we wanna loop through them to each one of these btn, these buttons individually, and let's add EventListener. And the event list is going to be add on click, and when it happens, we're going to call this function, okay? But before that, I want to show the computer a way of having track of the steps, okay? So let's have the let form step num equals 0, okay? Now, every time that someone clicks on next buttons, we're gonna increase that by 1, all right? And we also want to run this function, update forms steps, okay? So our event list is increase the form step number and also calling this update form steps, but we don't have that yet. So let's create this function, okay? Update form steps, and of course the function is gonna do something. What is it gonna do? This one is gonna grab the form steps, is gonna grab wherever the form step number is, and it's gonna add the class active to it, okay? Let me finish here, and let me click here, and as you can see, this one is active. Now this one is also active, and this one, as you can see, we can see just the active form. It's the same thing of us to come here. Let me show you. It's the same thing of we come here and adding manually the active class to each one of them, okay? But we are doing that using JavaScript, all right? Now you see that we came across with another issue, okay? We are adding the active to each one of them, but we don't want to see them all at the same time. So let's grab the form step, let's loop through it for each form step singular, okay? What we're gonna do? We're gonna grab the form step class list, see if that contains the class active. And if that is true, what we're gonna do? We wanna remove that one. So we have just one that's active. So form step class list remove active. And let's give it a try and see if that's working. I click next, and you see we are in the next one, next one, next one, and yeah, it's working nice. So the next button is really working, as you can see, but the previous one is not. So it should be very simple to do. All I have to do is change the name here. Instead of next, we want this one to be previous, and form step number minus. But I'm clicking here and it's not working. 99% of the time it's a typo. Let's see up here. the prev buttons, and it's not in here. Maybe it's in the markup. Let's come down here, looks for the previous button, and as you can see, I have a typo here. Instead of prev, I said just pre, btn pre. Okay, let's see now. Next, previous, next, previous, and yeah, it's working like a charm. This part is done, but now I'm gonna show you something optional. But I would like to apply some animation, okay? Every time you click on next or previous, okay? So let's come here to the form step. Transform origin is gonna be starting from the top. Animation, let's have animate. Let's give it a time of 0.5 seconds. And yeah, we're gonna talk about the animation, but we don't have it. So let's create that. Add keyframes. We're gonna from one state to another one. We're gonna from transform scale 1 and comma 0, opacity 0, nothing, not visible, okay? To another stage. What stage? We're gonna to transform scale 1 comma 1 and opacity is gonna be 1. And let's see the difference. Yeah, much better. In my opinion, it's much better this way, but that's optional. Alright, and now we want to be able to go through the step 1, 2, 3, and 4. And how we're gonna do that? Let's go back to the realm of the JavaScript where the magic happens, okay? And you are gonna be dealing with these steps. So in order to do that, let's save it into a variable, okay? This way we can manipulate that. That's why we are doing that. So the variable const progress steps, that's the name of the variable. And let's grab the steps in here. Progress steps. Another thing we should be doing here is another function for that. So update progress bar, we want that to work on both on the next buttons and in the previous buttons, okay? So it's done for the buttons. And now we're gonna create that function, okay? It's gonna be update progress bar, of course. And in here, what you're gonna do, we're gonna loop through each one of them, okay? So progress steps for each step, okay? Progress step, singular. And also the index, let's have a callback function. And in here, let's use some logic. If the index is smaller than the form step number plus 1, we know it's 0, and it should start by 1. We want grab the progress step class list and add the class active, okay? Otherwise, else, we should remove this class, okay? And now let's see if our logic is working. We click next, we go to step 2, now step 3, and step 4. And as you can see, the previous button is also working, okay? So far, so good. And now let's deal with the line, okay? Connecting those dots. Alright, we create a way to go from step 1 to step 2, 3, and 4. Now we want to update our progress step, okay? This line here. So in order to do that, let's grab wherever step we are in, okay? Wherever step is active right now. So document current selector, let's grab progress steps dot active, okay? Progress dash step active, and let's save that into a variable progress active. Why? Because this way we can use that, okay? Also you always need to have a reference to something, then you can use that, okay, using the DOM. Let's get the progress tab style with. Let's grab the progress active dot length -1 and let's divide that by progress steps. All right, divide by progress steps dot length -1. We're almost there. Okay, the math is not right yet, so let's multiply that by 100 plus the percentage symbol. You'll know that it was 0 and now it's gonna be 100. So let's give it a test. Okay, next connect 1 to the 2, connect 2 to the 3, and connect 3 to the 4. Let's do the other way around. Previous 3, 2, 1, and yeah, it's working like a charm. Okay, Dev, that's all for today. I really hope you like it. If you like it, you know what to do is smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss videos like this one every week. Bye bye, see you in the next one.